All right, guys, I got part 4 in the last box of this candy haul that's been trickling in this week. It's been pretty good. Been getting some items definitely I'll be saving for the collection. It's not just something to flip is what I'm saying. It actually had some things I need. This last little part, now I didn't study it, but I do recall it being one of the better of the 4 lots. And this box is pretty big, so should be a fitting finale for us. Also got in a Mr. Bones coffin that I'm going to open it in a separate video. It's potentially a variant I didn't have. Okay. All right, let's check it out. There should be 20 vintage candy items. Okay, the first thing is a rare one, and a pretty desirable one, actually. This is a Concord Confections early 90s TV dinner bubblegum. So you might fondly remember TV dinners growing up. You know, moms during the 80s started working, you know, the American family started breaking down a little bit. Maybe that's not the best choice of words, but, you know, moms, you know, started working. So families like ours, most of us, started eating things like TV dinners at night because, you know, the parents were all working and didn't have time to cook. So here's a fitting novelty candy of the era. But yeah, this is Stouffer's TV dinner bubblegum. I get $100. This is an easy $100 box. It's very rare and desirable. So, banger. Next up is a pink, pretty obscure color for this roller pop. I actually don't remember ever seeing a pink. It's got leakage here. So I might restore this, but yeah, pretty cool. This is by Topps, 1994. Next up is another banger. Yeah, this is a good lot, actually. This might be the best of the 4 lots. God, you know, I think I actually needed this. Now, I've had this in the past, I think twice, but I always sell them. This time, I'm not going to let this one get by. This is Chewy Checkers. A creative confection made this. Yeah, I actually forgot who made this. I thought it might have been Concord Confections, but no, this is the Creative Confections. This would date from 96 to 97, 98, something like that. I love the checkerboard design here, but yeah, the concept was kids could play checkers and eat the bubblegum after they were done. Again, it's one of those themes that I love where kids are encouraged to actually play with their food. So it's one of those. I just imagine a couple of, you know, 6-year-olds literally picking these up and playing checkers and then eating them. It's pretty gross. Next up is a classic. It's definitely going to be the Emerald CD player bubblegum. This appears to be already cracked open or potentially cracked. Actually, no, it's still sealed, but it's got a little damage here. The 80 items I've seen, which we're not quite through them, have all been almost practically mint. So it's been a very impressive lot. But yeah, this is from 1994. I think pretty much everything is mid-90s so far. Next up, another little grouping here. Let me set you down to get this tape off. You know, I think, didn't we pull this the other day? I think, yeah. So this is a double. But yeah, this is Frankfurt Fun Lunch. Not very old. It's 10 years old. I believe it was 2014, if I remember correctly. Yeah, somewhere in there. Now this one we haven't seen. Looks to be another Frankfurt gummy novelty. Here's you make your own pizza. Very cool. So I'll definitely be saving that one. All right. stick into other things here. All right, let's see what else is in here. Wow, look at that. Yeah, this is definitely a better lot here. Next up is a Pez. This is going to be a mid-90s. I've never handled one of these bunny ones before, so that's pretty nice. Yeah, actually a pretty little object there, so pretty cool. I don't collect Pez, you know, I have to have boundaries somewhere, and so a long time ago I decided I would never collect Pez. You know, I want to keep my marriage. Anyway, next up is an Amarillo 1995 bubblegum jackpot. Now, this is pretty cool because it's a slot machine, so it kind of promotes gambling to young children, particularly young girls. Yeah, look at that, slot machine. Wow. I can't reach my other one from the other day. I wonder, it does look very similar. Maybe this could even be a double. That's exciting. But yeah, here's a Willy Wonka Gobstopper snack size from 1992. That's a rare one. Next up is something I talked about, I believe, within the month. We were talking about Two Tarts. I pulled out most of my Two Tart material. These are coming out of Atlanta, Georgia, my old hometown. Yeah, innovative candy concepts from Atlanta, Georgia. I still haven't had time to look them up. I've never really researched these, but I do believe I recall seeing them in the late 90s, and they still make them today, but this is going to be an old one. They're pretty good with dates, so if you don't mind, I'll take a second to find a date. Here we go. 2005. So this is 19 years old. All right. Next up, these were first made by Zeeb's Enterprises in 1997, but this is going to be the Cookie Chew. This is actually interesting from a candy geek perspective. I've never seen the Kids Zone one before. I've seen Coco's and I've seen Zeeb's Enterprises. So I'm going to have to do a little research on this. So this is now the third company I've seen label these. So interesting. But anyway, this is Cookie Chew. It resembles a dog dish. These are cookies inside. And I believe, yeah, the bone was the candy tart. Notice it's turned a pretty vile black color. Beautiful coloring on that. And yeah, we got one more little bunch. Make sure, actually one more thing in there. Let's get it all out. All right. Next up is going to be another one of those Zeeb's Enterprises Zogs. So if you might remember back in the day, kids would play with Pogs, which are the little milk caps. And this is factory celloed on. It's not glued on, but it's got the factory cello kind of holding it in place. Inside is, well, it tells you it's got 2 pieces of bubble gum in the shape of a Pog. And then it has 7 actual Pogs, you know, cardboard things, disc. So this is a game kids would play back in the day. They were actually a little after my time. I'd already kind of moved on to college when I think kids were playing this. These date, I believed, in 97, 98, something like that. Beautiful. But yeah, I collect these. They come in different colors. I might already have this. I definitely have this color, but they come with different Pogs on the top. So, all right, next is going to be a Good Light candy pacifier. I've actually never seen this sculpt before, so this is new to me. But without looking, I know this is by Good Light due to the pellet candy style, and just the whole setup is unique to that one company. So very cool. I've actually went ahead and put all the other ones up from the other day. So I don't have them handy to compare them to anything else, unfortunately. All right, this is the last little bunch. Appears to be 4 items in here. Oop. Look at that. We got a breakage here. That's the first time we've encountered any sort of shipping problem with this lady. I'll glue that back on, no big deal. But this is going to be Blast Off Space Gel Candy. Love the Rite Aid price sticker. But these were made in Atlanta by Uniconfis. These are dated usually with Roman numerals. Yes. So this is from 1996. Now, they're a little dorky in my opinion, but I will say I love their alien mascot. I'm going to try to get you in there to see him. He's actually pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah, I wish they would have just had him bigger. Or maybe had a little window on the rocket here or something, or on the label. Played around with a little bit more, because he's a pretty cool mascot. But yeah, Blast Off. Unfortunately, it broke in shipping, but I'll glue that back. No big deal. This we got the other day. I know what this is. This is going to be, without looking, it's going to be the Willy Wonka one. Actually, you know what? I can grab the other one. Hold on. Because I was just looking at it. Here it is. So, this one came, 2 days ago. And remember, I was talking about how it was so weird how on the label it says you will either get chickles or you will get runts. And it was just so weird how this is marketed. But anyway, so look at here. So this has to be the Willy Wonka runts variant. And there it is. So that's really cool. Yeah, I actually have a buyer right now I know is going to want this. So it's actually a chick out of Atlanta who's building a pretty big Wonka archive. So I'll sell that to her tonight. But anyway, here's both of them. Really, the size of these are super annoying. There's no one would enjoy storing this for years and years and years. So this is something I'm not really interested in keeping long term, but it's fun to handle them for now. Next up is a Kids Mania soda can fizzy candy. Now they're still making these. I've never been able to track down the original date on this, but I believe it's 2005 when they started, but they're still making these. They've gone through at least 3 style changes, and I can just tell you by looking at it, this is the first one. This is the first edition soda can by Kids Mania. Kids Mania is definitely still around, still making candy novelties. They were a little bit bigger about 10 years ago. They've kind of, I don't know how to say it, they've kind of scaled back. Since the pandemic, they're not quite putting out as many different varieties, is what I'm trying to say. Just in my opinion, just from observation. But yeah, pretty cool. And then the last thing is going to be an Amaral. It's definitely in the style of bubble jug, but this is the candy jug. Cookies and cream candy jug. Wildly popular. To this day, there's collectors out there that just collect bubble jug or just collect Amaral, and this is something that's pretty sought after. But this is from 1993. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I was still in high school. I was 11th grade that year, listening to Nirvana and punk rock and all that stuff. Fun to think of things in those terms, while we were, I'll just speak for myself, spending time with my first girlfriend, for example, new experiences, blah, blah, blah. This was on shelves. A lot of this actually was. So it's fun to think that way. 1992, high school era for me. This was on shelves. But yeah, hope you enjoyed some of that. I'm going to save the Mr. Bones for another video because it's a mystery color. So I'll do a little presentation with that. But yeah, so that concludes the kind of the random summer haul for this one collection that I bought. Had 80 items in it, but this is the last 20 items. So pretty good. Got some bangers in there. So highlights real quick. Probably the best thing in here is the TV dinner box. Very cool. These are very rare. Certainly the Wonka box is very rare. And then this is something I'll be keeping. I don't think I've saved one over the years, so I'm definitely going to put this one back. And then, yeah. Oh, yeah, the pizza was pretty cool. Hadn't seen that before. It's not very old. It's only 10 years old, but, All right, guys. Give me a second, and I'm going to put together a Mr. Bones little thing, too. Okay? I'll be back in a little while. Russ Van out.